How's it going?
Hi guys. Hey, how's everybody doing? It's good to see you all.
That threw you off a
We
bit
are
there.
Well,
so
I was like, I
excited
didn't
to be
quite
here.
hit start, and so it's gonna be right in the middle of guys or something. It's great to see all of you. We're hanging out live with Ellie and Jared, some friends of ours, YouTubers, vlogger, family people, and their channel's linked up below. You guys are gonna have a fun time hanging out with them, with us, hopefully tonight.
You will.
Oh,
We'll
it's gonna be a
just
good
go.
time.
Well,
We're gonna have some good times here.
it's gonna
Let the good
be
times roll.
off the chain. Is that a thing
Off
the
the
kids are
easy.
saying these days?
Don't
Easy
shoot
with
yourself
the
here.
Yeah. So here's what we're gonna do, guys. First of all, we're gonna get to know them a little bit. We'll talk about some stuff that we've been learning as parents, but we want to do plenty of Q&A with you guys. So I see you, Keith, Katie, Jan, Jose, Heidi, Katie, another Julie, Maddie. We see you, all you guys are in the chat, and we want to answer questions that you guys. Neither one of us are experts, but we do have some kids, so we have learned a thing or two about our kids anyway. So we'll do our best to.
I think you guys are experts at changing diapers, though.
We're
Oh my
experts
goodness.
at
like
not
multiple
slowing
diapers
down.
at one time.
Two
Yeah.
diapers.
I know you are.
We have
got-
not tried changing them.
We got to use your teeth
simultaneously.
on one of them while I was doing
Oh,
your
that's
hands.
disgusting.
But first of all, real quick, for those of you guys who are here, one of the common questions that we get, I'm going to just answer right away, is how can we get notified of your upcoming streams? And so you'll see right on your screen right now, you can text Smoothies to 43506, and we send out a text message notification about a half hour before we go live on YouTube. So a lot of you guys already got that today, but if you want to get the next one, you can text that. It doesn't cost you anything, and that's all you need to do. So hopefully, and there's a link in the description. If you're international, you can sign up for the email or something like that instead. So, Ellie and Jared, tell us a little bit about yourself, your channel. Guys, there's a link to them in the comments below. If you're not familiar with them, you go check out their channel. But what do you guys do on YouTube?
A little bit about ourselves. We'll
Yeah.
try and sum
We'll
up
try and
really
keep it
quick.
down to 30 minutes.
Jared and I were daily vloggers, and we started with the infertility of our son Jackson. And
So basically, we wanted to start documenting our infertility journey, and it was at the very first infertility appointment that we're like, we should do this. We should film our life and just basically show our children how much they mean to us.
Yeah.
And the process that we took to get them here to be with us and be a part of our family. Miraculously, just a couple months later, after we made that decision, we got pregnant with Jackson, and
I think the crazier blessing was getting pregnant 9 months later with Calvin.
oh my gosh.
And so now we have two beautiful boys, and we are in the process of just starting to build a home. So we are excited, busy, fun time in our lives right now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Awesome. We love watching you guys, and I know you guys who are watching us, hanging out with us right now, you'll love them too. So you can go check out their channel, linked up below. But let's talk about parenting stuff here. So, what have you guys been learning as parents recently?
I think specifically with having a toddler, a 2.5-year-old, I am learning patience, but not necessarily like, oh, he's throwing fits and patience. I love that I have a toddler, and I love that I'm raising him right now. And I'm trying to use I talked about it in a video that's going to be going up soon. I worded it was so good, but just they are learning, and I'm trying as a parent to allow him to learn. Like, I have to schedule my time 10 minutes earlier, 20 minutes earlier leaving the house, because normally I'm early anyway, so he can buckle his seatbelt. Like, that's all he wants to do. That's all he wants. Like, he'll cry. And it's like, if he buckles it, like, let him do it. But I myself have to learn to leave the house early, and that's just what I'm doing lately with a toddler. Is it's not hurting him. It's not really that big of an annoyance because he's learning, and so that's what my
It is a big annoyance when you're like, okay, we gotta go, we gotta
Yeah,
we
so
gotta
Oh,
like I
yeah.
said, I
That's
have
why-
to
Like,
be on
we're
top.
going live at right now. You need to be in bed.
Exactly.
That was us 10 minutes ago.
With when it comes to Jackson, I find like this is the age where he is like the most moldable and like malleable, and like the things we do and say are like super important to his
Discipline,
development. And
non-discipline.
yeah, exactly. So like
You have to teach him now.
and he's been doing so good at listening. Like, of course, he's 2 years old. He's not going to listen every time, but my heart melts inside as a parent. Like, this is like what you strive for as a parent.
Yeah.
Okay, Jackson, we're going to do this. Or is it like, and oh gosh, what's the word? okay, Jackson, I want you to grab your plate when you're done and put it in the sink. Okay, Dad. My heart is melting.
He does it. It's like he understands.
Yeah. And he's doing it, and he's agrees with it. It's like the best ever, and I love the stage that he's in because it is kind of like an internal battle with him. But more often than not, like we're winning, and it's great, and like, and I say what winning, but I mean like it's a success. He's not throwing a temper tantrum. He's doing what he's told, and he likes it too. He loves cleanup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think,
That's so exciting. That brings back so many memories. We're still in the middle of it too, but
So one of the things that I've been learning is like, you know, with 6 kids, and even with 2, like when they start having these behavioral issues, I think my inclination for a while is just like, well, we have to figure out a new discipline strategy. We need to figure out like, okay, so the discipline we have been using or doing isn't working. And then I started realizing like maybe it's just that like they actually just need more love and attention, you know? And so what we started doing for the few times we started to sense that is like, rather than disciplining them, we're like, let's go out on a date with Dad, you know, or let's go do something like, let's go on our walk around the park or around the block with Mom, you know? Like, so rather than like more discipline, it was like, we think you just need more attention, which in the middle of 6, like that, you can totally understand how that could happen, right? Especially with 2 little twins. So we have found that actually made a really big difference with some of our kids, rather than just like always pulling the more discipline card and saying, oh, let's go do something together and make you feel loved and special. And then like that tended to take care of many behavioral problems, you know?
As a kid, I totally remember just wanting to be heard. I had 6 kids in my family. I'm the second youngest of 6 kids. And not my brothers and sisters, they obviously never took me seriously. You're just a little brother. Get out of here. I have much more important, bigger things than you.
Yeah.
But like for my parents, like just going on a drive with my mom meant the world to me. And like being able to sit down and talk with my dad, like playing catch in the backyard where it's just him and me and we're having these talks, like it goes to a much deeper level than the whole family. Yeah. And so Tim, I totally agree. I think that's super important to do with kids, and even like having scheduled dates. Like I loved going on dates.
We talked
with
about
my
that
mom.
this morning. We want to take Jackson to like a little movie, like just us, like a little lunch and a movie, like
both of you together or one-on-one?
Us together.
Yeah. Maybe have a babysitter or grandma, grandpa.
Yeah.
Cool. That'd be so much fun.
What have you been learning? And then we're gonna start doing questions for you guys. See, I have some of your questions queued up. So
patience. It's always in like, you can always use more patience, but what does that look like? Like there's not like patience does not magically just come to you. And so I've been trying to figure out like, what does that patience look like? And now 6 kids, it's a lot. And so like,
and how old is the oldest?
6.
6 kids under 6.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so thankfully our 6 and 5-year-old are very helpful when they want to be. So I haven't posted it yet. I took a picture last week when I was out with just the 6 of them going to Bible study, and I wasn't pushing a stroller. We have 2 double strollers, and Hannah and Zeke were each pushing one of the double strollers. I was like, that's so awesome. I'm just like walking along beside all my kids.
That's actually kind of cute.
Well, and did they have fun doing that?
They love it. They love it. Like before we get out of the car, I'm like, okay, we need a plan of how we're going to get into the building.
Yeah. I think like,
and so it's just, and that's part of the patience is just like planning ahead and allowing that extra time. Like Ellie was saying, is you just have to know that it's going to take longer. Like the whole seatbelt buckling thing. Tim has a lot more patience than me. I've learned a lot from him. And just like we would purposefully take the one that was wanting to learn how to buckle themselves, especially before a new baby was going to be born. And we're like, all right, you're going to have to be a little more self-sufficient here. Yeah. And purposefully setting aside more time before you have to go so they can get in and teach them how to buckle correctly. And then in the end, it saves so much time when they get in and they can buckle themselves in. And you're like, what just happened there? Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Kids, I'm also learning it, and every kid is different, but like for me, because me and my sister Bonnie were really close. So we talk a lot about like she disciplines extremely different than I do, and all the other siblings as well, because every kid is different. Um, I feel like kids are just so much more simple than people think, and I feel like sometimes me as an adult, my priorities can waver when they shouldn't. It's like kids are our priorities, but sometimes it's like, oh, we do need to get out the door. We do need to be early. I do need to, pick up the dishes before we're done just because it makes life easier on me. That doesn't make life easier on them. And so,
Right.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, there's so much that parenting just teaches you. I could go on and on.
Yeah.
In dishes, like teaching, like I had to, it's the silliest thing. I had to let go of how the dishwasher has to be loaded. Like you wouldn't think that that would be something so small like that. Like it really irked me, and I had to just not look at the dishwasher. And Tim had to teach the kids how to put dishes in
I'm
there.
like, just throw them in there, kids. As long as they get water on them, that's better than they were before.
So that's been something that I'm thankful now that I have been able to let go and be
Yeah.
like, well, they just do it their way, and I'm not going to go
their
back and
journey.
rearrange everything because then that wastes my time. And
Yeah.
so
I think it ties into a question Misty Henderson asked, and we'll be taking you guys' questions however we can best serve you guys. But her question is, how do you balance life and vlogging on top of kids and editing? What expectations do you have for your kids in school? So that whether it's vlogging and editing, or it's work and career, or it's family, like every family has multiple demands on their time. So do you guys have found anything that works for you guys as far as how you balance life with the family and all the demands outside of the family?
Well, I think we can definitely consider vlogging like that's our job. That's like what we do, and that's what we do day to day. And editing is a big part of it. And that's something that we've experimented on different schedules and trying different things. And we found some things work better than others. It's important for me to put the kids to bed, have dinner with them, and help with that. And then after that is when I do my editing. Ellie does her editing. So like when the kids are asleep, that kind of
we
stuff.
try and do a lot of in the morning specifically. We try and do it just like any other job. Jared's dad works from home, and his dad did the same thing. But Jared wakes up and goes to work. He wakes up, eats, comes in his office, shuts the door, and works. While I
Get
take
down
care
to
of the kids and
business.
stuff. And specifically throughout the day and at night when we edit, we try and do a lot of work when the kids are taking naps or in bed. We don't, and I mean, Jared's, it's different just because like it is like his job. It's like I'm with the kids and Jared will edit and do what he needs. But we try and do things not when the kids are awake, because that's when we're teaching them, raising them, playing with them, taking them to grandma's, taking them to the park. So that's something that's how we balance it. Is
Yeah.
we have to split the work up. We don't want the kids to always see us on our phones and computers and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. I think for us has been less about trying to balance and more about trying to integrate, so it's like,
Yeah.
so like reading the Bible while we're eating a meal together, like the kids' hands and mouths are both occupied, it's like perfect. So they got something to
The only
do.
thing you've got left is your ears.
Yeah, that's right. But they're so attentive during that time, or like rather than seeing, and you guys I'm sure do this too, but it's like rather than seeing like work and families completely separated, there's like an overlap for us, because you're spending time with your family, but it's also your job, and so like when I go and do meetings with other people here locally, I'll take one or two of my kids with me, like it's a lunch meeting, and they get to have a business lunch meeting with us, and they eat a meal and play on the iPad the rest of the time. But it's like trying to do less about like trying to balance 14 different things and just seeing how can we combine some of these things so that we're not killing two birds with one stone, but just kind of like living more integratedly. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
I do like how involved, even though Jackson's only 2.5, I do love how involved he is with it. Like, he enjoys it. Like, he enjoys when Jared pulls the camera out, and he loves to say hi. And like, when you do take him like today to
Yeah.
fly the,
Yeah.
like, it is fun for even such a young age with how involved they already are.
Yeah.
And it also reminds me, like Ellie said, my dad works from home. Like he has my entire life. He started his own business when, like, the month I was born. So I've never known anything different than my dad being at home. And so that integration, like you said, totally normal and totally like, I'm used to it. So like this sort of thing, doing YouTube has been very similar to what my dad has done. So,
Yeah.
That's
like I
awesome.
said,
Cool.
integration, optimization of time, not necessarily balance, but it's just, working the whole family unit together and
Yeah.
this rather than trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another part with that is I try to not have a busy schedule. Like it's so much
You
easier.
just
Like
nurse all the time.
a little busy.
That's, it's not busy, but it's full.
See you in 10 minutes. She's got to go soon, guys.
No, but like before, I want to say when we were first married, like we were volunteering and everything that we could. Like our whole entire schedule was busy. And then like I think every kid that we had, I would start knocking off more of what we would do out of the house and how many nights we were away and now like we hardly do anything out of the house unless it's being able to take a meal to a friend and we can take our whole entire family and we can go and eat with them and minister together like that instead of just me or Tim going off and
Yeah.
doing something. So
Right.
Yeah. Clara Campadelli, I think is how you say it. Do you have any rules or boundaries regarding screen time, computer, TV, iPhone, iPad? We kind of make a living on screens. So how do you guys balance that with your kids?
Jackson and Calvin get to watch as much Ellie and Jared on YouTube as possible.
As long as they like the video.
Yeah,
can
they
watch
have to
it.
thumbs up in order to watch it.
Smash that thumbs up button.
Just like we've talked about, it's just a complete balance. Usually Jackson watches a movie a day. Usually around like 11 or 12, he'll watch a movie while Calvin naps because Jackson doesn't really nap anymore. So it's like his quiet time for an hour, and he'll watch a movie. But it's just been balanced. We don't really like them to be watching TV a lot,
Yeah.
just because this is like what we do. I am fine with watching a movie when we're out to eat. I am fine with stuff like that when we're in the car. I don't mind at all. But we go to the park a lot. We are outside a lot. I involve him with making a cake and breaking the eggs open. So he is just involved
Yeah,
with whatever we're doing.
we don't let him think that that's what he does.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing. It's like he doesn't say, okay, I'm watching a movie on the iPad and you don't get to tell me what to do. No, it's like it's a privilege. It's something that he gets to do because of something else, not necessarily I was just going to do that.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, you're
Yes.
bringing the tigers.
The tiger here. Right. But like we do limit it. Like today he wanted, I want to watch Elsa. And we're like, sorry, bud, you already watched a movie today. And
Go outside and play.
and so we went out to the park instead. And so it was, there definitely is a method to it for us. Not a method, but there is a structure as far as like when he gets to do this, how much, and that sort of thing. We don't want him to be, I don't want his eyes to bleed because of the internet.
Yeah.
be like our kids when they're like, I need screen time. Like,
They're like turned into
no.
these like unblinking people. It's just like
We have days like that because there
Yeah.
are some days where we're totally both exhausted and we're like, sure, just go watch some TV.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is like, you as a parent like will have those days where you're just like, I can't take this anymore. The only thing that's going to help is if I just put on a movie,
'Cause
and
all I
that's
wanna
for
do
your
sometimes is
sanity.
watch
That's
movies.
for
Yeah.
your.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the winter time is a very similar thing too, because you're limited on letting the kids just go outside and play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We set a 30-minute limit for each kid every day, except for Hallie gets an hour because part of that's her school time with abcmouse.com, while the older kids are doing school. But that's about it.
Yep.
Very cool.
ACHHHHH94. Do you stick with the same nighttime schedule with your kids, or is it always changing? I think routine's pretty important.
First, or does it matter?
Yeah, you guys go ahead. You take the floor on this one first.
That's already all I had to say. Like, I think routine and like predictability, like, is something that the kids like.
We try to stick to it. It's usually within an hour of itself. So it's not all over the board, but it's pretty
Art?
close.
Bedtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 7 to 8ish. Is when
Absolutely.
we try to. have them all in bed.
We like to. I mean, so as human beings like order and structure and repetition.
Even if you think you don't.
yeah,
We do.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I swear, like our bodies need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
routine. And so as a kid, I think it's all the more important. So we totally do like the same thing. Like within an hour, we'll start getting the kids bathed, their teeth brushed, dinner, all
Ours
like
is
around
very
6.
strict. Like,
And then 7 o'clock, like we want you in your bed.
Yeah.
But as long as they're in their bed and they're not getting in our hair, I'm fine with that. If you
Yeah.
stay up till 7:30, 8 o'clock, as long as you're in your room, in your bed, I'm
Jackson
totally
hasn't
fine.
figured
Yeah.
I totally agree. I'm
Yeah.
like, if you're quiet and in bed and we get our alone time without having to stay up really late at night, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Hannah Greer is asking, she says, I don't have kids, but when I babysit, sometimes it's hard to get the little ones to bed. Any tips?
So
Put lots of
this-
chocolate all over their pillow.
Yes.
I'll give you a candy bar if you stay in bed.
So I think it kind of goes along with the repetition, at least for me. Like, as a babysitter, you're not the parent who's been putting them to bed every single night. My parents will sometimes put, like when we're out of town, and Jackson and Calvin, like when we went for our birthdays, we said like this is what we do almost to a T with both of the kids, and I don't think there had any issue. So I think asking the parents like what their routine is would be a big help in getting their kids to bed.
And if they're at the age of coming up with like a million excuses to get back out of bed, you gotta like cover all those before you get in bed. Like, this is your last drink of water. Make
Yeah.
sure you go potty. Like,
Yeah.
cover all of those before they get in bed.
And then my favorite one's like, Daddy, will you pray with me again? I'm like, how do you say no to that
No
one? Like, I do say no. I'm like, no, that's an excuse.
There was one time where one kid was like, Mom, I forgot something.
I forgot to say this in my prayer. Can we start over?
Yeah. There was a good one. Where did it go? I lost it. It was from Julia Berg. Okay. Oh, yeah. So a couple of people have asked this. Julia is the most recent one, Julia Berg. Will you guys ever put Calvin and Jackson in the same room? What's your opinion on siblings sharing? Wait till the older. And so people asked us that question, too, because we're not going to have 8 bedrooms. So
Or 7.
Dana and I
We
at
don't
least
need
will
it.
be sharing. You guys have any thoughts or opinions about that yet, or not really?
I have a very strong opinion about that. I grew up in a home where we could have all had our own rooms if we wanted, but my parents specifically made us share rooms, and I think they did that for several reasons. One, like kids, at least us, like you don't. It's not like Jackson stays in his room by himself all day. Heavens no, he's in our eyes downstairs in the living room. I think that it's good to share rooms. I think that right now Calvin just doesn't sleep, and so it just isn't ideal. So he just sleeps in our room right now. But when both kids are probably 3 or 4, I don't know, whatever age, I will have them share a room. I think it's important. They're brothers, they're close in age, and they can share a room. They don't have to sleep in the same bed, but they can share a room. I slept in the same bed with my sisters. Everyone shared a room growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shared a room all the way up until there were enough rooms in the house that I didn't have to share. So when it was just me and my sister that were left.
Yeah. I grew up sharing a room. You didn't, did you?
I did when my sister was born, because me and my
okay.
brother didn't share a room. But my sister's 10 years younger than me, so when she came along, then I started sharing a room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone put it to me this way. I thought it was really helpful for me as far as sharing rooms is concerned. They said, Tim, like society, families are becoming so hyper individualistic that the average American family has turned each kid's room into their own mini apartment, their own computer, their own TV, their own bed, sometimes their own little mini fridge, everything. And it makes it really easy for kids to develop a sense not just of entitlement, but of of ownership, of I don't know. It just didn't seem healthy to me. And I think there's a lot of value in having kids learning to share a space together, learning to work together, living together. Yeah, you don't have to share a bed together, and you don't have to share toothbrushes and stuff like that. But I think having kids together, we're all about being a family team. You guys who are on our channel know that. And so I think that's just another way that reinforces that.
I think it totally allows for the whole mine to come out in full force, where that's just so.
It's not even your room. That's
Yeah.
our room, and we're telling
And we're
you to share.
giving
You're
it
to share a
you.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell this to people all the time. Our marriage is based on selflessness, not selfishness. And I think like that's kind of like what we want to make sure our family stands by is being selfless, looking out for someone else, and helping other people too. So I mean, having your own room. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having your own room.
And I liked
but
having my own room.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you were old enough, you had your own room. When I was old enough, I had my own room. There's nothing bad about it, but I think
Right.
having the opportunity to share with someone else is really,
Always
really
good.
cool. Like,
Yep.
here's a good example that goes completely, this is older, not just kids. So I served a mission for a church in Finland, and I shared like a little apartment with, we called them companions, just a little missionary. If you see Mormon missionaries walking around, they're always in pairs. I learned so much about marriage from that because
I bet.
because of that. And it's the same thing with like a sibling sharing a room, a sibling sharing bunk beds or like clothes and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
clothes.
There's the principles are still there. So
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
important.
because getting married and sharing a house with this new person's hard enough. Like, but if you grow up and you have your own room the whole entire time and you haven't had to share very much, like,
Yeah,
I can't
it's a
even
hard
imagine how
transition.
much harder that would be.
Yeah. A good question from Maggie Ely, going back to the routine thing. Is your daytime routine similarly structured, or is it mostly nighttime? I feel like our structure revolves around meals and the afternoon nap. But do you guys like have like a family rhythm that you guys kind of follow, or not really, or what does that look like?
Everything involves around food. It's like, oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
When is lunch again? When's the next snack? Our routine is very similar. And it's not like we just fell into a routine. Jared wakes up, he eats, he goes to work. I'm with the kids in the morning. I get them ready. We have lunch. By then, Jared's done. Then we start our day around 2. Like, we start filming just whenever we start filming, but usually like when we're ready for the day and we go out, it's 2 o'clock. And it took me a while to get used to that because I don't like that. I want to be ready to go at 10 a.m. because that's what I've always done. But just especially with how working from home now and the videoing, that just seems what it's like is about 2 o'clock. So
Yeah.
we do have a structured day.
Yeah, a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes of everything that we do on a normal day-to-day basis. So they don't see all the conference calls, the emails, all of the stuff that take a long time but aren't really fun to watch on the vlogs.
Yeah. Right.
Tim agrees.
Right. Yeah.
Dana agrees, I'm sure too.
Yeah. So Erica Cariaro, sorry. How do you handle those moments when you feel like you just had a parenting fail?
So this is, at least for us, I think this is why it's really important to have someone who's supporting you. Anytime like I feel down, Ellie is there to gird me up and boost me up. Anytime that she's feeling down, I'm there to help her feel better. And that was the same way throughout the whole infertility process, parenting, parenting
I
fails.
love being married for that reason because
Yeah.
it's like even today, like 20 minutes ago, like we've had such a good day, but I was just like, I don't know why I'm sad. Like I don't know what's wrong.
Ellie was as
I-
blue as this shirt.
I don't even know why. But and Jared was there just to, like we didn't have to talk it out or anything. It was just like I was just like whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's because it took
Yeah.
me 4 hours to make the stupid cake. But it just I love that about being married is like you're just
Yeah.
someone's there.
One of the things that we've done when we notice we've done a parenting fail is apologizing to our kids about it, especially our older ones. And by older, I mean
5 and
Hannah,
6.
Toby, and Hallie. No, Hannah, Zeke, and
Hallie.
Hallie, yeah. The older 3 were just kind of like, you know what? Like, I yelled and I shouldn't have, and I'm sorry. Like, I should have, and I think like just modeling that, like you want your kids to apologize when they do something wrong. I think modeling that as a parent, some people are like, oh no, it erodes authority. I'm like, no, actually, I think it builds trust and it lets your kids see that you're human and that you make mistakes too. And I think it actually builds the relationship.
Absolutely.
I'll find out in a few years if I'm right.
No, I totally.
I think
And I think, I 100% agree because I remember like, if I felt that as a kid, then I was more open and it's the same thing at work. I had one boss who said, I'm the authority. You listen to what I say and you do what I say. And no one liked him. No one
Yeah.
wanted to talk to him. And then the other boss that I had, it's in the same company, just a different district. he was just very open, and he said, you know what, guys, like we tried this. It was my idea and it was my fault, and we got, it backfired on us. So I'm sorry about that. And then everyone just had like this real open relationship with him. So I think it totally correlates with parenting. Like, and I've
Definitely a
totally,
fine line.
yeah, I've totally apologized to Jackson. I mean, he doesn't quite understand everything, but I've apologized to him for things that I've done or said, and that sort of thing. And Ellie and I are always apologizing to each other too. And so I think when kids see that, they'll
Yeah.
follow the structure too.
Yep. Totally. Let's do like one or two more questions, guys. We can do like a lightning type round here. Okay. What incentives do you sometimes give your kids if they listen to what they're supposed to do? And someone else, that was from JNC. Someone else also asked something similar about like how do you like give incentives or discipline or whatever, get your kids to do what they're supposed to. And I think the key for me, and it's not something we've actually talked a great deal about, but is the goal often that I see is like, it's about like, how do I get you to behave the way I want you to behave? But the question I try to ask is like, how do I capture your heart so that your heart does what you know you're supposed to do? Does that make sense? Like, it's less about like, let me just give you incentives so I get the behavior I want, but their heart is actually like, ooh, if I just act out a little bit and then mom's going to give me candy and then I'm going to get what I want, right? As opposed to saying, like, I know this might be asking a lot, maybe not, I don't know. Like, but I'm like, I want to, whatever the discipline is or the reward is, it's not for the sake of like that thing. It's actually to like shape their heart. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. You
Okay.
don't want to do a Pavlov. You don't want to do a Pavlov. When they hear the bell, you don't want to give them something. Like
Right.
that's, you want to, like, you want their heart to be in that rather than just doing it for the reward.
Mm-hmm.
You want
Yeah.
to do it for the reason that you're asking, not necessarily because they might.
I want them to do it because they love us, and they respect
Yeah,
us, not just
exactly.
because. And I don't know if that's too much for a
I don't think
3-year-old
so.
to get.
I mean, that's
but-
what
No,
we're training. I mean,
I
you have
don't
to start
think,
young.
like Jared said,
The whole,
and
the whole
mo-
perfect age to mold
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
of that.
yeah.
Definitely.
I don't
Just-
like Jackson get away with certain things because I know, like, if he does, then what's gonna happen when he's 3 or 4? It's gonna be even worse.
Oh my
I
goodness.
remember one
No.
time I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hallie almost got away with something, and I was like, if you go take a nap, then you don't have to have this discipline. And then she got up from her nap, and she's like, you didn't, da 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 da. And I was like, oh, but now we're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one more question here, guys. And Grace Smith is asking it, but a couple of you guys have also asked this. Do you worry about their lives on the internet? Worry is not the word I'd use. I think about it, and I consider it, but I don't think I worry. Maybe to add to that, I think we could
No,
talk about
I
that. I'm
don't-
sure both of us
I
have a great
I
deal.
don't worry about our kids' lives on the internet. I mean, the thing about it is that we have control of what we put
Mhm.
out and what we do and what we say.
And we only put out what we want to.
Exactly. And the whole reason behind a lot of what we do is because we feel like we're trying to put out a good example for what our kids would want to see when they're older, and what our kids would being good examples is important to us, and that's kind of why we make a lot of the videos that we do. And so
And
that's kind of what I
something
think.
that I've looked about it is, no matter what you do, no matter what job there is, good and bad come from it. And we feel like this is like a calling in our life.
Yeah.
We really do. It is so crazy to me that people even find interest in us sometimes. It's mind blowing. It's very humbling. And especially when our kids are older, we're definitely going to talk about you are example to people, and people may bring you down, people may bring you up, but you're a good example, and you have a lot to live up to. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on us and our kids, that we do have a lot to live up to, but I think it's also wonderful. So I don't worry about my kids putting them on the internet. I think if anything, it's going to make them that much stronger of men.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Again, there's a link to their channel in the description below, Ellie and Jared. And for those of you guys who joined us halfway through, their daily vlogging family, super awesome. And you guys can go check them out. They have a cool story, and they got some cool stuff coming out in their story pretty soon with the house stuff.
Yes, very exciting things are about to happen in the Meekum household. Thank you so much for Thank you so much for having us
Yeah.
on.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
doing
this
so
was
much
Thank you.
fun.
It's good to have you guys. Thank you all of you
If
who are
you
hanging out
ever-
in the chat. If this is your first time here at our channel, we'd love to have you subscribe. We're all about trying to become a family team, learning what that looks like. How do we work together, play together, serve together, rest together, all that kind of stuff. And
I like
so
the
we're learning
rest.
a lot, and love to have you guys join our journey. If you'd like to get a text message notification before we go live, we do this once or twice a week, mostly every Tuesday for sure. Thursdays we try to live stream as a family, and that kind of depends on the attitude of the kids and the parents, honestly. So, but you can text the word schmovies to 43506, and then we'll send you a text message notification about a half hour before we go live, so you guys can have that in case you want to keep up with it. So, you getting it? Jared totally just said
I just
I think it's
hand
amazing. I
modeled
had
the
no idea that you
Oh,
could
hand
do that.
model, nice. Well, thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you guys again on tomorrow for our vlog. Zeke's breathing issues and stuff flaring up again, and you guys know a little bit about that. So we will have that vlog up for you guys tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.